Welcome back to Sacred Grit, the podcast where we explore the intersection of ancient wisdom, modern life, and the wild, untamed spirit inside us all. I'm Freya, and today, we're going to get a little wild. Not in the partying till sunrise way, but in the rewilding way. You've probably heard the term rewilding before, usually in the context of restoring natural ecosystems, letting forests regrow, bringing back native animals, removing the human-made barriers that have choked off nature's vitality. But what if rewilding isn't just something we do to the land? What if rewilding is something we do to ourselves? Rewilding your soul means reconnecting to what's real, raw, and primal, the parts of you that existed long before spreadsheets, deadlines, and social media feeds. It's about stepping away from the over-polished, over-controlled, hyper-digital life and returning to your roots, in your spirit, in your body, and in your daily habits. Today, we're going to explore what it means to rewild your spirit, to break free from spiritual numbness and awaken your intuition, passion, and wild joy. What it means to rewild your body, to move, eat, and live in ways that honor your primal design, not just what a fitness app or diet trend tells you. And what it means to rewild your habits, shaking off the routines that cage you and bringing in moments of spontaneity, adventure, and realness.
And don't worry, you don't have to run off to live in a cave.
Exactly. We're talking about accessible, meaningful changes that bring you closer to your own wildness, even if you live in the middle of a busy city. So, if you're ready to reclaim the untamed parts of yourself, the parts that remember how to play, how to rest, how to listen deeply to the world around you, stay with us. This is the Rewilded Soul, and it just might be the most important journey you take. Let's start where all meaningful change begins, with the spirit. Rewilding your spirit is about breaking free from the cages we don't even realize we're sitting in. The cages of shoulds, expectations, constant striving, comparison, and, maybe most dangerously, disconnection. Modern life has dulled so much of what makes us vibrant, intuitive, alive. We numb ourselves with endless scrolling, endless distraction, endless noise. We trade wonder and mystery for algorithms and convenience. But under all of that, the wild spirit is still there, waiting. To rewild your spirit is to peel back the layers of domestication and let yourself feel again. To feel joy without performance, grief without shame, awe without needing a reason. You don't need to run off to the mountains to do this, though, hey, if you can, go for it. You can rewild your spirit by sitting quietly under a tree, watching the way the wind moves the leaves, by standing outside at night, staring up at the moon, letting it remind you how small you are, and how connected you are to everything. It's in the way you listen to your body's intuition, the way you follow a creative impulse just because it sparks joy, the way you give yourself permission to not explain or control everything.
And sometimes it's just about turning everything off. No phone, no agenda, just you and the world, remembering what it's like to be instead of do.
And you know, the beauty of rewilding your spirit is that the more you practice it, the easier it becomes to carry that sense of presence and freedom into the rest of your life. So, I want to challenge everyone listening. This week, take just 5 minutes, to be still in a natural space. No music, no phone, no agenda. Just be. Notice what you see, hear, smell, feel. Let your spirit stretch its legs a little. Because the truth is, you're not here to be a machine. You're here to be a living, breathing, feeling wild soul. Now, if rewilding the spirit is about reclaiming presence and intuition, then rewilding the body is about remembering that your body isn't just a vehicle. It's a living, breathing creature, one that's been shaped by the rhythms of the earth for thousands of years, and not built to sit in a chair for 10 hours a day under fluorescent lights. Our modern lives are incredibly sedentary and overstructured. We've outsourced movement to workouts and forgotten that, for most of human history, movement was a natural part of living. We ran, climbed, crawled, carried, danced, not because we had to get our steps in, but because it was life. That was survival. That was connection. To rewild the body means to move more like an animal and less like a machine. It means inviting in instinctive, playful, even slightly chaotic movement. Walk barefoot in the grass, climb something, crawl on the ground with your kids or your dog. Dance in your kitchen like you're casting a spell. Movement doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be yours.
Yeah, and I'll just say crawling around on the ground as a grown man is surprisingly hard on the ego, but it's also really fun once you stop caring what you look like.
That's the point. We've been trained to view fitness through this narrow lens of reps, sets, and aesthetics. But your body craves exploration. It wants to engage with the world, to be useful, expressive, and wild. Let's talk food for a moment, too. Rewilding the body also means eating in ways that nourish your biology, not just your taste buds or your calendar. That doesn't mean rigid diets or obsession with clean eating. It means asking, is this food feeding my energy, my vitality, my gut instinct? Or is it just filling a gap? Try eating with the seasons. Try foraging if you can. Try cooking something over a fire, even if it's just a marshmallow. The act of making food real again, tactile, connected, sacred, can be deeply healing.
Also, if you've never carried a log through the woods for no good reason, you're missing out. It's weirdly satisfying. Functional fitness, but with dirt under your nails.
Yes, that's rewilding. You don't need a gym membership to reconnect with your body. You just need space, curiosity, and the willingness to move like a human animal again. Your body is wise. It remembers the forest, the hunt, the dance, the firelight. All you have to do is let it. So, we've talked about rewilding the spirit and the body. Now let's talk about something sneakier, our habits. Because let's be real, most of our daily routines, they're not really ours. They're built from expectations, productivity systems, marketing algorithms, and survival mode default settings. We wake up, scroll, rush, eat on autopilot, work on autopilot, and wind down. You guessed it, on autopilot. Rewilding your habits isn't about throwing your whole life into chaos, although a little shakeup now and then can be refreshing. It's about questioning the taming, asking, why do I do things this way? What would I do differently if I trusted my natural rhythms? What would feel more alive, more real, more me?
Yeah, and sometimes the wildest thing you can do is slow down. Like, intentionally not multitasking. Sitting and eating lunch without checking your email, that's basically rebellion in 2025.
Truly. Some simple ways to rewild your habits might look like morning grounding rituals instead of jumping into your phone, tech-free evenings with books, journaling, or stargazing, making fire a habit, lighting a candle while you cook, sitting near a real fire if you can, letting your schedule breathe, leave room for spontaneity, even if it's just a 10-minute walk where you follow your curiosity instead of a sidewalk. There's also something beautifully rewilded about making things with your hands, baking bread, carving wood, growing herbs, mending clothes. When your daily life includes physical creation, it reminds your nervous system that you're human, not just a brain dragging a body from task to task.
And honestly, start small. I replaced doom scrolling before bed with just stepping outside and looking at the night sky. The first few times I forgot, but once it stuck, it started to feel like my brain exhaled for the first time all day.
That's it, that exhale. That's the moment your soul recognizes. Ah, we remember this. Rewilding your habits is really just about returning to what's true. For you. Not what your calendar demands, not what your app tells you to track. Just what brings you back to your body, your breath, your connection to the living world. One small ritual at a time, one decision at a time. You start to become less of a machine and more of a mystery again. Rewilding isn't just about being more natural, it's a deeply spiritual path. Because when you strip away the noise, the routines, the pressure to perform, what you're left with is something raw and sacred. Rewilding as a spiritual practice is about reclaiming the wildness within you as holy. It's saying, I don't need to be polished to be worthy. I don't need to follow a script to be in touch with the divine. I can meet the sacred in the woods, in my breath, in the sound of rain, not just in temples or textbooks. Many ancient traditions were born out of this connection to the wild. Paganism, animism, shamanic paths, indigenous lifeways. All of them honored the living world as teacher, healer, and sacred partner. They didn't separate spirit from nature. They knew the forest, the stars, the wind. They're not just scenery. They're alive. And they're speaking if we're quiet enough to listen.
I think a lot of us didn't even realize we were starving spiritually until we had a moment outdoors that hit us like, Oh, this is what I've been missing. Not more apps, not more books, just presence.
Yes, spiritual rewilding is about saying yes to mystery again. It's about letting go of needing to control every outcome and learning to trust your instincts. It might look like meditating under the open sky, leaving an offering at a tree or a river, speaking out loud to your ancestors on a morning walk, creating your own rituals that honor the moon, the seasons, your growth. You don't have to do it right, there's no right. That's part of the wild magic. It's not about rules, it's about relationship.
Yeah, and honestly, it's freeing. And there's something sacred about dirt under your nails, about sweating in the sun and realizing this is prayer too.
It is. It all is. When you rewild your spirituality, you reclaim your birthright to feel alive, connected, and full of wonder. You stop chasing transcendence in the abstract and start finding it in the wind, the soil, your own skin. This is where grit meets grace, where soul meets earth, where you meet the sacred, not out there, but right here. So here we are, at the edge of the trail, mud on our boots, hearts a little more open, maybe even beating to a wilder rhythm. We've talked about rewilding the spirit, remembering that you're more than your calendar or your productivity. We've talked about rewilding the body, honoring its instincts, its hunger for movement, sensation, and rhythm. And we've talked about rewilding our habits and spirituality, the ways we can live more rooted in what's real, natural, and sacred. You don't need to toss your phone in a river or go full primal to start this journey. Rewilding begins with noticing, with curiosity, with small choices that breathe life back into your day. It's putting your hands in the soil. It's dancing barefoot when no one's watching. It's looking up at the stars and remembering how small and how wildly magical you are.
And hey, maybe it's also about letting yourself howl once in a while. Not metaphorically, just full on howl, preferably when your neighbors aren't home.
Yes, rewilding doesn't have to be serious. It's joyful, messy, a little weird, but so alive. So here's your invitation. This week, pick one small way to rewild, one tiny rebellion against the tame, one act of presence, of nature, of mystery. Let your soul stretch its legs a bit. You were never meant to be domesticated.
And if this episode stirred something in you, some ancient memory, some untamed whisper, let us know. Share your rewilding practice. Tag us, message us, send smoke signals, whatever works.
If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a fellow wild spirit. Your support helps us grow this little campfire we've built together. Until next time, stay grounded, stay wild, and walk forward with sacred grit.